Says Vanek in. Vanek walks around Postma. He scores! What a move by Vanek!
Well, you never want to be on the receiving end of a move like that. My goodness. What a move by Vanek. Pulls it between the legs around and then stuffs it top shelf under the bar. That is just silky.
Wild Wednesday here at Bennett's. Another Wild Wednesday. And that was from last night at the Wild game. If you didn't see it, you've done yourself a giant disservice because I wouldn't have called it silky. I would have called it filthy because he toe dragged that thing. That's like a junior move. I mean, typically you don't see that unless highlight reel goals. But anyways, Wild Wednesday, Scott Schweitz, Sarah Sheely, Tony Dean at Bennett's. Of course, the mantastic Aaron producing our show as always. And by the way, ladies out there, the stash is looking legit.
It's the best Movember mustache I've seen so far.
We're on the 11th, and she's going to Snapchat the progress. But
I will. I've got Tony's on there. I'll Snapchat Aaron's.
He's going to be sweeping
Scott,
floors with
yours
that
isn't really worth it.
Sweeping floors.
Thanks, guys. Been working really hard on it.
Literally, Aaron's mustache is like, what's up, ladies? And my mustache is like, has anybody called the police yet?
Your mustache is like, what's up, kids?
Tremendous.
No, you both
hello, children.
Yes,
you both
aggressive.
You both could say, what's up, ladies, and then you just get different responses.
And here's what I'm saying. This is just my best effort. So fuck.
Oh, that quick?
That was
immediately.
a new record.
And the only reason I say that,
we had to have known the pedophile
can
was
we just edit
swear
that
30
out?
seconds.
No,
just edit that out.
No, I'm giving my heart and soul to this mustache, and it just has not performed the way that I would like it to. But the benefit of it is the emotional terrorism angle to my actual wife because of this mustache has paid dividends. So every time that she has criticized me for the way that I have done things or just been a wife in general, like what wives do, all I have to do is
I'm
point.
sorry, what is that, Tony?
Just everything that's awesome in the world.
Thank you. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
But I just point to the mustache, and then I have this like warm feeling that this month is causing her dread.
You're such a great husband.
No, I think that's probably across the board. So the Movember movement, or No Shave November, however, either way, I'm opting for the No Shave November because when I've done the Movember, it is pretty. It's awful looking. I mean, it's bad.
It's so creepy.
It's 70s porn awful, but.
That is exactly what Aaron has going to. But it's like his is better because it looks like a 70s porno guy. Like Tony's looks like a guy who watches porn.
By the way, for those of you out there, keep listening. We're done. We're done talking about this. We're moving on from everything.
But
everything
you can
mustaches
check our Snapchat.
and pornography.
Hashtag shots fired.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
You can check our Snapchat Wild Wednesday coming right now with all the Movember goings on. Okay, go on.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna kick this off for the games that have happened since our last meeting together. Nashville came to town on my birthday, and
those bastards.
And they really leave me really hollow at the end because first shift, James Neal, who was running around like Oglethorpe or McCracken from Slapshot, and just looking to run people into the boards, and thank God that Pari-Say didn't have a bunch of drinks before because this might have happened.
Anybody throws me against the boards, I'm going to piss all over myself.
But instead of that,
who are you?
Yeah, that's right. Instead of that, he strained his MCL. So they said minimum 2 games. It's an MCL, and they're going to treat this with absolute care. My guess is he's not going to travel on the road trip, and so now we're going to talk about a minimum of 5, 6 plus games.
I honestly wouldn't expect to see him until after Thanksgiving. I mean, by the time we get home, it's that the first home game is the 21st.
We're talking 10 games.
The first, well, no, that's not 10 games. There's a 4-game road trip, and the first home game is the 21st, and then there's the Wednesday night game before Thanksgiving. And I would expect to see him after that. So 6 games.
Not the weekend.
Plus the 2. So
not the weekend, yeah.
So I think that the way that you saw him go down, I mean, obviously you were at the game. Was that on your end?
Right in front of me.
It was right in front of me.
He crippled to the ice, and He got up and he fell down right away again, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I texted you right away.
You get the pit of the stomach, and I'm like, oh, this is it. And he hobbles off the ice. So then we don't see him for a little bit. Then he comes back, and you can clearly see that his skating is efforted. I mean, he's not pushing off. He doesn't have the stability, and he tried a few shifts, and then, I mean, barely made it down the tunnel.
Well, it's funny because this is the difference, between being at the game and watching it at home, because I'm actually talking to Scott. We're texting back and forth about it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is so awful. And he's like, oh, he's fine. He's back out there. He's on the bench. And I was like, no, dude, he just went down the tunnel because you're at the game and you don't see it, where I'm at home watching the game on the TV and Twitter, Russo's Twitter, so I'm seeing all of that. But just a super unfortunate situation. What did you think about the hit?
Well, the hit was hard to see for me because it was.
Well, you've seen a replay.
A little, yeah. I mean, he came in. Pari-Say kind of has back to him.
I thought
the knee came in.
I thought Pari-Say was engaged with another player.
Yes.
Also, he's not separating him from the puck. This hit, he comes from across the ice. I mean, it's unneeded. I don't know why you take a shot on a guy like Pari-Say and then you're not held accountable again. I mean, it's just like I don't.
Well, and it was all game with
But that's the
him,
thing.
too.
I mean, entire game, James Neal was running around.
That coil hit was ridiculous.
Entire game, he ran around, and finally, he did eventually get a couple penalties, but it was because of other incidences that warranted penalties. It wasn't that it was we owe you one kind of a call. It was not, and there was no suspension, no fine, no nothing, and the entire game.
Not even a penalty.
On that play, there was penalties for him later in the game, but they were because other actions that he did. So obviously we have his injury, and then immediately, they're trying to tinker with lines to figure out who they're going to put up there. I mean, so the remainder of the game, it was a shuffle of all different people trying to fill in roles, and it. Obviously, the end result, we lost.
Well, I mean, I think look at the weeks beforehand when all we kept saying was, as long as nobody else gets injured, we're going to be fine. And then to have somebody go down, but let alone that's Pari-Say goes down, I mean, we're in a shitstorm now. And like Suter said, honestly, it was mass chaos the rest of the game. It was just chaotic, them trying to figure out who was in, who was out, and how it worked without their captain, pseudo-captain.
And, the goals that happened that we did score, from our defensemen, from Scandella and Dumba, both great shots, by the way. 2 power play goals. So we were 2 for 6 on the power play. Both great shots from the perimeter from our defensemen. And the reason we lost the game is on another questionable play where Dumba appeared. This is on the opposite end of the ice, but it appeared to have the puck. No whistle.
What bothered me about that wasn't necessarily, it was at that moment the no whistle, but what bothered me was down on the other end of the ice, not a minute later, then the puck is in the blue still, and they're calling the whistle like that.
Well, and there's a rule. You kind of go to say something every time, and I say so. I'm sorry.
No, I think I totally agree with everything that we're talking about. I think it was good to have Chad Graff here from the Pioneer Press last week, just because he talked about how important it is to be not a fan of the team or not be kind of
invested.
A member of this Minnesota hockey community sort of. Because we mentioned to him that there's these plays and there are these injuries and there's this sort of it feels like politics that doesn't matter
fly
here.
Over state.
Fly over territory.
Drink if you're at home. That's one of Tony's words.
No doubt. And especially when it happens to a guy like Pari-Say.
That's tough.
When you have a guy that works his ass off that's internationally respected. This is Captain America, so even if you're not a Wild fan, you respect the fact that Zach Pari-Say is the epitome of a blue-collar, work yourself into being an overachiever when maybe you're not the most gifted type of guy. And to have a guy like James Neal run him on a play that wasn't relevant and then bounce around, be proud of himself all night and have there not be any repercussion or it feels like they're enabling this behavior.
But not just that, but So you have the penalty at the beginning of the game, and then you have the goal at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But you could, I
Right.
mean, and the
Where
thing
they're crashing the net. They're crashing
and
into
It wasn't consistent. It just, I mean,
Well, but there's a rule that you can do. There's a rule that you can say, I intended to blow the whistle
Sure.
and disallow a goal.
Right.
So even though they did not blow the whistle,
Right.
and he had the puck and they're still jamming,
Right.
I mean, obviously, should we have maybe stepped up and cleared the paint a little bit more? Probably, but you
Sure.
think reasonable
Right.
that we would get a whistle and play would stop. But no, eventually the puck goes in the net and it's like nothing. I mean, nothing again, and you don't have Pari-Say out there maybe to plead your case. Koivu, we've talked about in the past. While he's had an excellent year, he has a history and reputations with the referees where I think he gets heated with them and they just tune out. They don't
Right.
listen.
But I'm completely for the idea and philosophy that if a team is bush league or they want to involve themselves in this nonsense, that you don't participate and then you hurt them when they take penalties and you use their mistakes against them. Where it gets lost in translation for me is the loss of competitiveness, the loss of a superstar like Pari-Say to an injury that doesn't have to happen. You lose a guy like Granlund to Bufflin's nonsense. And my wife, by the way, and I look at James Neal's behavior as Bufflin-esque, as, there's a lot of guys that run around and do stupid. The guy that, Milan Lucic, he's spearing guys in the bean pouch like that. That's unreasonable. And it doesn't help the sport.
There's no room for that anywhere,
It's
by the
not.
way.
It's not part
do
of the
not
game.
spear in the bean pouch.
Yes.
Nowhere. Not on
And-
the ice, not on the land.
And when somebody that's in charge overall, whether it's competition committee, whether it's player safety department, whether it's Bettman, whether it's Chuck Fletcher and Leopold going to the other owners and being like, what part of the game is this? How is this helpful to our brand? Because there's a lot of people that think that violence in hockey, fighting, a lot of like the injury stuff that can get ugly is a reason for players to be held accountable legally. Not anything reasonably, but Bertuzzi.
And that's why you have a more balanced teams now, where you don't have an enforcer like you used to. You don't have
But
you don't have the
not
Chris
always.
Simons.
Not always,
No.
man, because teams employ goon players. You
Well,
still
there's
have
a few
you
But
still
there's
have-
there's not the goon players like there used to be.
Well,
there's players
but
that
just because you're a skilled guy, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but just because you're a skilled guy doesn't make you a goon. Bufflin, goon.
No.
James
I
Neal,
know,
goon.
but it's saying it's evolved from a guy that has very little talent, and that's his role is to just drop the gloves. I mean, we had a certifiable heavyweight on our team. I mean, Bugard was a boxer. I mean, he taught a boxing camp up in Canada,
And he
I
played
think
very little hockey.
Saskatoon. I think it was basically he went up there to. I mean, he would be sent out on the ice as a message and to fight somebody.
Sure.
And that was like to get the team amped up.
Right.
But now you do see the bigger players or the physical, cheap, questionable, however you want to put it, but they also have skill. I mean, Bufflin scored some goals that have made me shake my head. I'm like, how did that?
I
how did
don't know
that,
if you can say he's just a goon.
the hippopotamus is
But
going out there like
I'm not saying he's not skilled, but that shouldn't mask the fact that their behavior there's motivators for it. There's no negative motivators for it because you're not taking these guys off the ice.
Oh, no.
You're not
No,
hurting
no.
their teams. And
Bufflin played practically the entire game last night.
He did play
Yeah.
a lot, and in his behavior is spot on. I mean, he was running his mouth the entire time.
Yeah.
He was giving at the face-off dot. He's on the wing, lined up against a winger, and he's constantly like whether it's Howla, whoever it is, he's constantly like throwing jabs and like then barking at the ref like, oh, look what he's doing. I mean, it was like that type of behavior, but I mean, you have to have somebody big enough to put him in his place if that's the case. And you don't want to get into that style of hockey, but you do need to have somebody that can plaster him against the boards to basically make the schoolhouse bully settle down.
Well, I mean, that's exactly why we brought up Curtis Gabriel last night, was for that exact reason, playing the Jets.
except for Curtis Gabriel fights and then he gets benched because I don't know what Yo wants. I really don't know what Yo wants because it's fine and good when you're winning a game or you score a playoff goal off a stupid penalty, But when you lose a guy like Pari-Say, when you get dominated physically by these Western Conference teams that do it to us, Nashville being one of them now, because they have bigger bodies, and in that game we didn't move them off the puck. They camped out in the zone. I mean, if you look at their goals, they were a lot to do with us not being able to move them around.
Yeah, Mr. Carey Underwood scored.
Yeah, and so I just wonder, if Gabriel's a guy that you're proud of him because he is physical, but then he fights and then you bench him for the rest of the game, and then you say, well, we shortened our bench. Yeah, that's BS. I waved the BS
and at that point too. I mean,
on shortening the bench.
So we'll get to the Winnipeg game. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay game. So, as a reaction, 2 days later to a tough loss. I mean, you lose your franchise player, and you lose the game to a questionable call. So obviously a double
and
hit,
some questionable hits.
You're having maybe a tough time stomaching it, and you have a little bit of anger and this
and
shouldn't
it was
happen.
the first home loss too.
Correct. So, and maybe Dubnyk has not been great, but then he comes back, and you win a 1-0 game with another goal from a defenseman. Now, albeit a offensive defenseman with Spurge, goes 0 for 3 on the power play, but perfect on the penalty kill, and Dubnyk is lights out. He is lights out, 31 saves. And anybody who saw the game, that is he stole that game. I mean, he was robbing Stamkos.
Honestly, I watching him, I was like, is he blacked out right now? I mean, that's how in the zone he was. He was all over the net. I mean, he was just stretched all over the place. The moves that he was making were phenomenal. The saves he was making were phenomenal. And it was so fun to watch. And it just kind of made me think, like, watching him play that game, it just brought me back instantly to last season. Like, that's what I felt like watching him play. And it's like, is that what he needs? He needs that little bit of pressure? He needs that little bit of a must win. I have to play my absolute best right now.
Well, there probably was a little bit of, of this in the locker room.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure! We've come too far! There's too much to lose! We've got to keep our composure!
I never should have agreed to the soundboard.
I found soundboards.
I actually, for that one, that's how I was feeling when Pari-Say went down. I was
me
like,
too, totally.
Oh my god! Especially you're getting zero production for the other two guys on that line,
right?
And when Pari-Say goes down, you're just like, man, we
and the other injuries.
0 Pominville goals. Granlund hasn't been contributing anything. You're missing Gravovic, Grayovac, who would be your center to like bounce some lines. I was like, this is the worst thing, and they've responded with 2 wins.
But I would say the response though was him. I mean, and that's when a goalie shines. I mean, when you have a goalie, and we talked about it last year ad nauseum, but when you have a goaltender that can steal games for you, not all the time, but can when he needs to, that was a need.
And that was an amazing 1-goal game. A one goal shutout game to win. Like,
very entertaining.
It sent
hockey.
A message. It was phenomenal
for people that know the game.
And that's a dangerous team. That's a dangerous team. They're fast. They're skilled. Beyond Stamkos and the one that got away, Tyler Johnson, they're Russians.
The triplets
on that team are fast. They're skilled. They play well together.
There was a lot of Slavs, like a lot of something like Vladislav, something Slav. I'm like
Kucherov.
Wow. I'm like Vav, like a lot of V's.
He's kind of dirty dirt too. Kucherov.
Yeah, but he's not like a big guy. He's just like a feisty.
Yeah, he's just kind of dirty.
Yeah,
but I mean, North-South hockey. That is probably the fastest North-South hockey that I've seen in a while. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great hockey. As far as if you're a purist and you want to just see a great, hard-fought game.
Skilled game.
I mean, that was it. And by the way, their goaltender, Bishop, is a monster.
He is a monster.
Like, his waist is above the crossbar.
Yeah.
I'm like, look how big he is. Like, it's crazy.
Well, and honestly, that's what Fletcher was like. Man, if we can steal this kid out of where'd he go? He came from Ottawa, right? He was a St. Louis, and then he went to Ottawa, and they traded a little tiny guy for him. I think that's how it worked. But
was it Ottawa?
Yeah.
He drafted by Ottawa, and then he went to St. Louis.
Yeah, they traded the little tiny guy for him that ended up in New York. Man, I can't think of this. Derek
St. Louis?
No, No, the
I
younger
was going to say San Luis went to New York, but that was because
Yeah.
of the Callahan deal.
younger guy
And
scored.
he's a little tiny guy.
yeah.
well, huge thighs.
And that's the other.
It's no lie. Look
We-
up Google his thighs.
Huge size. No, I showed you that picture. You know that picture because of me.
His thigh.
Guy-
Everybody in hockey knows about his thighs.
Guy's thighs.
I'm just kind of scared to Google it, to be honest.
Well, yeah, you're googling guy's thighs. That'll get you in trouble every time.
Martin San Luis thighs. He probably has to order special order pants.
I think so. With Darcy, I think we're bound to always be hypercritical about anything that he doesn't do that's spectacular, because there was questions about that contract, and really, it has less to do with Darcy and more to do with Josh Harding and Manny Fernandez and the Nicholas Backstrom and every single goaltender that ends up being the number one guy and then letting down, and so. I think what we saw out of Darcy in that 1-0 victory is exactly what you hope to see going forward.
So tell me this, and I totally agree with you, because watching him Saturday night was phenomenal, and like we were saying, so fun to watch, but just almost like you could take a deep breath, because we've been going back and forth like, shit, this contract we gave him and the way that he's playing. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's not been great like Scott did, but he's just not been phenomenal the way that we were hoping him to be. That being said, so before we had Kemper starting like every 4 games, with the position that we're in now and Pari-Say being hurt, how do you see this goalie rotation happening?
It all depends for me is how the schedule looks, because if it's not a back-to-back situation and you have time to rest your starter, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a Manny Fernandez and Rolly the goalie situation where
Right.
it's 50-50. Like, your primary goaltender plays 80% of the time.
Right.
And your other goaltender fills in on back-to-back or heavy streak situations where you're playing 3 games in 4 nights or something to that effect. Like, it shouldn't be that, we better get him in here or something. Because necessarily you don't need to get him in here if your
Right.
goalie's clicking. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter.
You still need to play Kemper. You still need to hopefully unlock the secret to his mind that
well,
causes
and that's the
him to
issue
be
with him,
kind of
because he's so good. But if he
Yeah.
just sits there and doesn't play, it's hurting him.
you can't ship him to Iowa because he'll get claimed. Like 1,000% in my mind, somebody would claim Kemper, and then you're stuck with Backstrom, and then you're stuck with Backstrom anyways. So you still haven't solved that riddle either. I mean, with regard to what's going on with the goaltenders, barring an injury, we're looking at Fletcher he has to find a way to move that Backstrom contract.
I'm confident it's going to be a package deal. I'm
Well,
confident
no, it has to be.
it's going to be a package deal, and I said it before, and I'll stand by it. The way he's been playing, I can almost guarantee the name Spurgeon will be in that mix.
It's going to, and I hate
That guy is playing unreal hockey right now.
And that's another reason to have him featured in the top pair. And I think so
He's a legit top pair defenseman
Oh,
across the
I
league.
totally agree.
I mean,
And-
plays
yeah.
sound. I mean, he's
and
not
he's
big.
and he's only going to get better.
But-
He is Ryan Suter in 5 years. You
I
know.
mean, so as I guess to that point, I mean, do you want to get rid of him? I mean,
I don't know,
that's
but
the
it
thing.
doesn't. But it doesn't matter. So okay, but here's my question on this.
Or
so
do you dump somebody else?
We're at a point though.
No.
But what happens when we have to give him a contract and we can't give him what he deserves, and then he goes then?
Well, let's-
so are
let's-
we playing for
you
this
can't. You
year?
can't.
You can't.
We
but-
can't,
So it has to be
exactly.
this year. But my point is this: the way he's been playing against other defensemen we have, do you think you move somebody else versus Spurgeon?
No, there's no chance because you've already committed. They've already committed the money.
Committed to contract, but I mean that can be moved. None of them have no
No.
move clauses,
No.
and no trade clauses. So
You don't-
because it's too young. So I mean, put it this way: would you
100%
rather?
the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because Spurgeon's playing lights out hockey. He's been arguably, and I
He's
said
playing
it.
exactly how you want
Yeah.
him to play if you have to trade
Yes,
him. Unfortunately,
but Spurgeon is limited, and the reason that Spurgeon's limited is that he's still a guy that's slight of stature, and that none of that matters if he plays high level like he does. But he's making $3 million now, and his next contract he's going to make $5 million. So that means the guy that you would trade instead of trading Spurgeon is Suter, who you can't trade, who you won't trade.
I will drop the F-bomb. Fuck no.
Yes, and so
No, but there's other guys that I'd
but
trade
there-
instead.
But there's no guy that you can trade instead because Scandella is we love Scandella, and Scandella has played some like top shelf whatever. But what you would get for him in trade wouldn't make sense, and you're not going to dump one of those other guys. You have Dumba's contract coming up. You've paid Jonas Brodin and Scandella already. You have Suter on a long term. You have Dumba. You have Folan. You have Mike Riley, and you have Gustav Olofsson. And so Spurgeon, there's no chance that he's on this Wild roster next year.
So he's making
zero.
So he's making 2.66 right now against the cap, and Scandella's making 4. I mean, and he's making 4, and he's locked in with 4 through 2020. So, I mean, let's put our honesty hats on here. I mean, do you think right now that
I'd rather have
Scandella is a better defenseman than Spurgeon?
I would rather have Spurgeon, but I don't think it works.
So would I.
Beyond this year, I'd rather have Scandella.
I would rather have Spurgeon, honestly, in a long-term deal.
All things being equal, say he took a deal for $4 million.
I would rather have
match Scandella's contract term and money.
Here's what I'm saying to you. I've come around a ton on Spurgeon. So, I think that Spurgeon's limited with regard to his ability to match up against bigger teams, and then we've seen in the playoffs not only does Spurgeon struggle against bigger teams, he struggles to move out bigger skilled guys, and he gets targeted for physical play, which hampers his game. So if you watch him in the Chicago series, if you watch him against LA,
I'm not sure you can say that this year, though. Look at him this year. I don't think that you can say that.
It's early in the season, though. I mean, he's not taking a season full of punishment. He's explicitly in the playoffs. Spurgeon in that Colorado series got destroyed, and he was separated from the puck. He was hurt. That guys like Cody McLeod were taking runs at him. Landeskog was taking runs at him, and it's no shot at his toughness. I'm telling you, it's no shot at Spurgeon, but there's certain things that he's limited in playoff hockey specifically. That's why we get beat by that fourth line, because we don't clear out Bolin in front of the net. We don't clear out the guy that they're trying to move from Chicago, the one they paid all the money on the fourth line. Bickle, yeah. We don't move out guys like that.
But think of it this way. Like, no, but talk about the pairings are different now. I mean, the pairings are different now that he's with Suter. I mean, before he wasn't
for a trade, though.
I disagree.
See,
I think the skill sets that he has are top line skill sets.
I agree with that, but I also do agree that they are. I mean, because honestly, unfortunately, it's the way the business works. This is the business. He's the exact.
The correct word is showcase, by the way.
What did I say?
Feature. Showcase.
I said feature.
Showcasing.
Shut up.
You're a showcase.
Seriously.
I am.
I'm going to feature you.
You're the showcase showdown.
I appreciate your honesty.
$1.
$1. But it is how the business works, and we can't afford to keep him after this year, so we have to get what we can.
So we go back to the. It's going to be a bundle, and it's going to be, if you want him, you're going to bundle something, give us something in return, and by the way, you're going to take this guy and do what you want with him, and take half of his or a quarter of his salary or whatever it's going to be, and take the roster spot.
Well, and the thing is forecasted though, because you're not going to move Scandella, because it's two different things, right? If you want to keep Spurgeon's a right D. He's a right D, and he's a top-line right D. So if you're going to move a guy instead of Spurgeon, it's not going to be Scandella. It would have to be Dumba. You're going to move Dumba. Or I guess you move Brodin, but the contracts that you have on Scandella and Brodin are very, very reasonable, and they're projected out. So the reason
at this point, though, I mean, where did you say Brodin should be?
Well,
bottom line. I mean, third line.
Well, because I want him playing on the left side with Folan.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, maybe you trade him.
Maybe.
Hell, I'd trade him and get Spurgeon through 2021.
So,
I like that idea.
Well, but here's what I'm saying.
Although Folan looked good last
all you GMs out there, listen.
I love.
Yeah, we're making the trades now.
I love Spurgeon
baby.
I love Spurgeon on $2.66 million. I don't love it on $5 or $6 million. Because
I think you're crazy. I
love him on 4.2 all
You're
day.
not getting him for 4.2 on the open market. No chance, my guy.
There's
I
no
think
chance.
it's going to be 5. I think it's going to be 5, and honestly, I think
$5 million bucks. If you say I got $5
million bucks.
I mean, I'm no financial hockey expert here, but I will say this:
especially if he keeps playing the way he's playing right now.
He's had his whole career here. He's playing top line minutes. He obviously is comfortable in his role. You offer him a 5-6 year deal at 4.2.
Well, if you're talking a 6-year deal, maybe it's a different story.
That's what we're talking. Jonas Brodin, 2021.
But I'm saying if he keeps playing the way that he's playing right now,
it's a mistake.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I'm saying like
it's a flat out mistake.
I feel like we're in the war room right now.
It's hard to let a guy like that walk away.
You're in your glow.
The
kids say you're in your glow. you're a little bit closed minded about this thing because I love this. Spurgeon's a great kid. He's a great story. He's done everything to earn his opportunities. The last couple games. They gave some love to Folan for the game, but I watched him. He assisted on 2 goals. He's firing the puck. When he's offensive and aggressive, Spurgeon is our best offensive defenseman. He creates. I mean, he's dangerous. He can skate out. He hits people. I mean, he does more with less, but he's still limited in that. And you have kids coming behind him. I mean, the move's been foreshadowed. Whether he gets traded in season, whether he gets traded at the trade deadline, whether he makes it all the way through the season and then he goes somewhere as a free agent.
He's not going to make it all the way through the season.
No.
He's not going to be in Minnesota next year, and that's been determined. And we need to settle into that. And then it's going to be Matthew Dumba, and unless they're trading Matthew Dumba, because you're going to owe Matthew Dumba money this summer because he's an RFA as well.
And I don't think they're going to do that because obviously you want to see what Matt Dumba can become, and we've seen flashes that he can be a very special and talented defenseman.
Well, you look at age too, though. Matt Dumba's 21.
Yeah.
Jared Spurgeon's creeping around 30, even though he looks 14.
Yeah.
Rufio.
I don't think so. I don't think he's that old.
I think he's 26.
He's got to be in his 20s.
No. He's 27, 28.
I'll look it up. Continue.
I think he's pretty young.
Continue the band. Okay, so I'll look it up, but I'm going to point this out there. How do you feel that Jonas Bronin's play has been this year?
I think he's flashed a bunch that he can be like a top line. I mean, he's proven it. So he comes in his rookie year, and he's a top 2 pairing guy. And then throughout his career, even though he came in as an 18-year-old, he's a top 6 guy, 100%.
Jared Spurgeon is 25 years of age.
Ooh,
so
I said
he's
26.
20. He's 25. Or
Yeah,
26 this year.
yeah, baby.
When you
So
when
he's
you
5
type
years older
Jared
than
Spurgeon into
Dumba.
Google, before Jared Spurgeon comes up, Jared Spurgeon wife comes up, so he must have a pretty hot wife.
Yeah,
He's in a
She's
commercial,
pretty.
and by the way, he's in a commercial now that he's starting to get some love from local businesses because before the only person you ever saw in a commercial was Ryan Suter, and nothing but love with Ryan Suter, but he's got like a Joe Mauer type personality, man. Like you see him on the Quick Trip commercials, and the other one
He's
it's like
scared.
I mean, he's like, "Hi, I'm Ryan Suter. Come
Oh,
meet
wow,
me
his
at-
wife is
come
super
meet me
pretty.
at Quick Trip."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's probably the
really
girlfriend
pretty.
he had when he was like 17 years old.
Aaron, I bet with
Wow.
that mustache you could get her.
Let's be honest.
Spurgeon has a creepy mustache when he grows it out, by the way.
Jared Spurgeon,
Real dirty.
Jared Spurgeon's a pretty little guy too. To be honest.
Yeah, but he's so little.
I mean, the ladies love Scandella, right? But those two together, I'm sure they do okay.
Oh, they want to take him and put him in their pocket and like walk away. He's just a little friendly guy.
Anyways,
Can I also interject this? My wife is watching the Winnipeg game, and she goes, "Who's the guy? What's his name? Bifuglian? Why is his name Bifuglian?" I was like,
he is
greatest nickname ever.
Because he is bifugly.
Yeah,
he is
he's
bifugly. God, I hate that guy.
Outstanding.
All right, so I'm going to wrap up and put a little bow on Tampa Bay. So one quote that came out of Mike Yeo was that he looked like he was attacking shots, and when Dubnyk was asked about his performance, he said that he didn't feel comfortable, really didn't feel settled in, and he said this game. You said he looked blacked out, but he just was
in a good way,
very sound on his skates and very good positionally to the puck, and then also. He was going out and challenging shots. So, and even some that he was out of position, he was coming across and making saves that he had no business making.
Yeah.
So, I'll leave it at that. Also, fun fact, through 51 starts, he has yet to have back-to-back regulation losses. So,
And I think it's very relevant to just know that this is a human being.
hashtag savior.
He's a guy. Hashtag savior. He's a guy that flunked out of his hometown as a number 1 pick in the team that he always wanted to play for ever, and then he has his career resurrected. Then he makes the money, and everybody's wondering: is this a 1-year guy? Is this a flash in the pan? Is this true? I think we give professional athletes too much credit because they're affected by the human angle. Like, all of it's affected by the human angle. You look at Thomas Vanek last year, and everybody's like, where are the 45 goals? How come this guy isn't like the master superstar? And then we figure out he's injured and he's doing different stuff.
To be fair, he didn't have, 4 until middle of December. So, I mean, there was some fair questions coming.
100%. But
he was getting destroyed.
But he's
the way that Palmer is now.
Correct.
But he also, and same thing with Pominville. Pominville is a human being, no doubt in my mind. He's like, why isn't this happening for me? The tough thing is,
it's in his head now.
The tough thing is,
he missed an open nutter last night.
Okay, and here's my thing. I was trying to wait for this, but like literally, Vanek gives up a hat trick to let him get on almost. It was practically could have been a breakaway, and it's an open net, and he shits the bed.
He screws it up. Yeah.
And it's just at that point you just kind of like put your head in your hand, and you're just like, Palmer, like get out of your own head.
Do we agree though that they're pretty good together? That line was pretty good together.
The line clicks. I mean, I like it. And so here's the thing. Now let's take. And by the way, Howell's been looking much better, much better. And
that's another kid has to get out of his own head. Has to get out of his way.
Take away just the shorty, which that's his bit. I mean, he loves the shorty because he's usually playing PK.
Yeah.
So he springs and then he can go for that breakaway on the shorthanded side. But if he's still playing well, and Pari-Say comes back, I mean. Why not tinker and maybe try to move those two down to the third, and then you're rolling 3 solid.
Wow.
I mean, your fourth line's playing great fourth line minutes, but maybe you roll with a Pari-Say Coyle kind of bit.
What you do from your season ticket holder day one status?
Here it is.
You send your email directly to mike.yo@minnesotawild.org.net.com where you let them know when you're not happy about in-game music or whatever.
No.
Whatever the scene is.
No. I'll just stand up and walk over there.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Here's what you do. You let them know.
You cut out the interweb and you just go right over and say my piece.
Can I please request to be at the game when this happens with you? Because
I'd
like to
I'm going to just knock on the glass, just hand him a piece of paper, be like, here, roster. These are lines. Use them.
So the guy.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much.
The guy's name is Marty Manley. He's got a bald head. He's got a mustache, right? He'll be the one scooping you up, Scott.
Yeah.
And escorting you.
Yeah. When you get banned from Excel, can I take over your season tickets?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You got to pay for them.
Well, you can keep paying for them so that when you're not banned, then you could use them again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, this seems fair.
I'll take that under advisement.
All right, so last night, actually, Scott and I did go to the game. We came down to Bennett's first. We had some dinner. We had a couple drinks. We rode the bus. You guys aren't kidding. Joe drives like a madman.
I was not invited.
I was holding on for dear life.
Not invited.
I thought you were working.
We thought you weren't talking to us.
Yes.
You didn't go radio silence for a little
No, busy week. My bad.
All right.
So Joe drives like a bat out of hell.
No domestics here.
We were drinking Coors Light on the bus.
Outstanding.
And we get to the show, or we get to the game.
On the shuttle.
Yeah, on the shuttle.
It's a party bus.
It was great. I mean, what a way to go to a game. Absolutely what I would recommend. So game starts. These are great. Thanks again, Scott. It was wonderful.
Word.
First period, maybe not looking that on our toes. Great goal by Nino, but not really in the game. So then Yo sees us and makes some changes.
Yeah,
Thinks, I'm going to bump Vanek up. And then, boom, look at him go.
Yeah,
there was adjustments, and you got to give him credit for making those adjustments because Coyle, while he played all right, I don't think he played, great up in that role. I mean, I think he's better suited for different line partners. I think he would be better suited to play with a Pari-Say, just because I think his skill sets are such that can probably complement a Granlund and a Pari-Say as opposed to a Granlund and a Pominville. They're a little more cavalier in their approach. They're not going to be as aggressive. A little more deep, some more dish. I don't know. I mean, I didn't like how that looked, but obviously, it looked real good once you got the other ones together. No power play goals last night either. I mean, putting up 5 and 0 for 6 on the PP.
And they danced around with it a little bit on the power play, but they got shots on there. I mean, that goalie there is good. I mean, they gave up a lot of both those goalies are good, but they gave up some shots. Winnipeg's a lot better this year. I'll just give credit to Winnipeg. I think that their young kids are better this year.
I think that they were big and they were physical last year. They could push you around, but I think they're just really getting those skills, kind of like honing in on their skills and kind of putting a little bit more silk into that skate. You
can see too that they were getting. I mean, Trouba was getting. He was getting frustrated. They were pulling penalties. Obviously, 6 power plays.
Yeah.
The Wild has been the least penalized team in the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, think about very disciplined team, but drawing penalties. Obviously, you need to capitalize because through the last 2 games, we're 0 for 9 on the PP. But I mean, you're drawing penalties. I mean, you're drawing penalties, which are clearly. You're bringing the frustration out from those players, like a Trouba, and I mean, I would have loved to see Byfuglien sit down a little more, and get some penalties for what his antics were. But it obviously is happening where they are frustrating teams.
Well, and they've been a little bit better. They've been a lot better actually on the power kill. As of recently, it's like 21 out of 25 or something they've killed, which has been good because in the beginning of the season it was kind of a little bit lopsided compared to what we'd like to see. But
the concern really has been the defensive structure and some soft goals.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about this team this year, and even their response to Pari-Say going down and the added offense. I thought Vanek was fantastic with regard to.
Well, let's talk about his second goal really quickly.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, both of them. I mean, both goals.
Even that first one, letting off a slap shot, having it bounce off the goalie like that, and having that feeling. Because usually that's a goal that gets scored against the Wild, right? Does that feel like
hash marks? I mean, he went to the hash marks and lit one up. I was like, woo!
That feels like a goal that gets scored on Dubnyk, and you're like, what the fuck was that? When he just lets off a slap shot, goes in, and then you're like, that's mad.
No, I guess maybe I didn't see the replay as well, but I thought it was clean. I didn't think it deflected at all. I thought it was a clean shot.
I thought it hit his shoulder.
The replay I saw, it looked like it was a straight laser up to the upper left corner, and then he lit up afterwards because he was fired up.
Yeah. I thought it hit his shoulder, and I thought he moved his head a little bit to get the fuck out of the way of it, to be honest.
It was a hard shot, but the next one was dirty.
That footwork was phenomenal. Heads were spinning. Like, what the hell just happened? It was so fun to watch, so fun to be a part of. I loved every second of that goal.
It would have been better if it would have been in front of me. I was really mad.
Yeah, unfortunately,
scoring all their goals on the other end.
They score 4 goals on the other end of the ice. But I mean, it was so many of them were breakaway type goals where it was so fun to watch. Anyways, everybody's standing up already and cheering. So, but that goal is just phenomenal.
And can we talk about that Nino goal, because the Nino goal to me just perfectly shows the growth in him and that line, because Nino uses his body, it comes from behind the net and frames it perfect for Mikko to give it to him. He sets it up with a quick shot, and then he finishes it on the rebound. And so few times do we see the Minnesota Wild have rebound goals or have anything in front of the net that's not Zach Pari-Say. And I think with Nino specifically, he's one of those guys. He's like a big skilled guy, and we've seen him score like breakaway goals, and we've seen him score like the slap shot to dagger Colorado. But what we need to see more from him is just like framing that target in front of the net, because you see Zucker all the time. He's flying into the zone. He's looking for a guy. He finds Mikko there. Mikko being a distributor from behind the net, that goal to me was like, that's going to be his bread and butter.
But I think you're seeing what happens when you do have the opportunity to build some continuity in a line. I mean, you're getting trust between your line mates. They're gonna play off of their skill sets. They're going to feed off of different opportunities and understand where people are. I mean, that's when you have teams that are perennial winners, because you don't even need to know. If you have a trust with a line mate, like, I know when I do this, he's going to be here, and I can do a no-look drop pass, and it's going to go right to him, just because that's how we do.
Which is something I'd really like Vanek to stop doing. That's my one thing with him right now, with this no-look drop that he keeps doing. That just
get turned around sometimes.
But if it gets turned around, but if you know it and it clicks, that's when. I mean, of course, that's his intention, but the continuity's not there.
I see what you're saying. I see where you're going with it. That's just.
I mean, you get when you get to play together for what now? How many games?
Well, maybe him and
season?
Palmer,
And I think that should be, and I'm hoping if this continues, that it will be seen that those two should play together, because maybe you're going to spark something that happened back in Buffalo.
I think that they're going to play together on Is it tomorrow? Thursday? Is tomorrow Thursday? Tomorrow is Thursday.
Yep.
Hey, tomorrow is
today,
Thursday.
Because today is Wild Wednesday.
Oh,
Today
yeah,
is
because
Wednesday.
we always do the show
We do
on
a show.
Wednesday.
It's called
in
the Wild
title.
Wednesday Show.
Yeah. And
You guys, I told you
don't-
the weather.
Where's the soundboard? There's no
The
soundboard
weather.
for she blinding me with science or like.
Oh, no, there we go. See, we're gonna get you.
I wasn't. Remember when you
everybody's
said the thing about the stuff and the thing that you were saying?
Everybody's
Like,
getting a
Okay,
soundboard.
might be.
all right, sorry. And here's the other thing I want to ask you because you're both in the building. Were you on the same side as that Dumba shot that he let off that rang off the post? Because that Dumba not only was a quick release, but
Yes.
he the goaltender doesn't move, and he only moved because of the sound of that thing ringing off the post.
It rang
Yeah,
off.
we heard
it rang
that
off
too,
the
yeah.
outside of the post, and it was on our end.
That was
in the third period, and it was
that was Dumba classic.
the
Like
kid. I mean, I want to see slow mos of his slap shots because I mean, the bend in that stick has got to be just outrageous.
that type of shot. If you can get that on the power play, you're going to score goals. You're going to have a dangerous second power play unit. I love that moment even though he missed.
Well, how about Porter with his first goal too?
That was a nice.
But
That was a
before
nice tip.
Palmer.
Great placement by Spurgeon on that. Chris Porter should be in front of the net deflecting anything because you're not going to get a lot of offense out of him.
Right.
And that was a silly goal too. That's another one that feels like those are the type of goals that get scored on us. If it's not, Vanek's really good at deflecting some, and Koivu has matched up with the deflection goals. I really like that goal.
I will take it away.
No,
Don't you take my soundboard away.
The interesting thing going forward.
Anything you want to hear out there, by the way, you tweeted at me, and I'll put it on the soundboard.
Oh, God.
The interesting thing going
Not,
forward
not
this
anything.
season,
I would like to just say not anything.
Well,
I
hey,
am still in charge.
Pass
Yeah.
the sniff test.
Yes. The interesting thing going forward this season is we're going to be looking for contributions and bounce backs from
You
several
are a
players.
smelly pirate hooker.
That's smelly pirate hooker. Steve Ott. Steve Ott.
Nice.
I'm not looking forward to Steve Ott at all, ever. Like, I just never think, like, Steve Ott is somebody I'd like to see play hockey
Yeah.
or just do whatever he does,
Yeah.
which it's not playing hockey.
Right.
We're going to be looking for Eric Howla to make major contributions, right? So when you lose the ability to bring in the center that you need, or even like a free agent that you need, and you're relying on these guys to bounce back and the young players, that Eric Howla goal shows that he still has the speed. He's just struggled a little bit with the physicality and like the fact that he's no longer like better than everybody else on the ice. I think I really think that that's like the come to Jesus moment with Eric Howla, is that his role and the way that he plays hockey, he can still be crazy effective, but we need the effort out of him. And when he scored that goal, when he scored the first one off of the deflection, and then now this next shorthanded goal, you can see that this kid is working hard.
Well, that's what I mean, and you want to have that type of response with that player, because that builds the confidence. And he is the type that, you are right, he gets in his own head and he has a little bit of that, and he needs to get through it. And I'm hoping that what this will do is that this will bring that confidence and have him play to a better level. So fast forward a few games, when we do get Zach back, we'll be able to mix up some lines and have a good third-line center that we can put talented players around. And I really do think that those two, with Vanek and Palmer, with Howla in the middle, and I mentioned to it a few shows ago that I think that would be a good line. And I think Chad was here, and it was because Howla hadn't earned that responsibility or the trust of being that third-line center. It's kind of moved a little bit into the fourth, a little bit, now back to the third. Schrader was on the third line for a while, but if you can get that settled down, I think it could be a very, very special third line.
And I think with both those young players, Charlie Coyle and Eric Howla, they've struggled a bit at the business of being a center, and it's because they haven't been like permanent roles. You know, they're still young in their hockey career, and so that's why you're missing out on some shifts, because you have to have Koivu out there to take a face-off. You have to have Granlund on the face-off. And so that's missed some opportunities. You know, the other thing is maybe Coyle and Howla can function on the wing and then be like an extra center. You know, the other one I am really excited to see going forward is Christoph Birchie is going to get another opportunity probably to come up here because Gabriel will be the one to go down.
So, okay, so I had that on the list here of things to talk about is the Wild call-up. So, obviously we saw with Gabriel is we're bringing up a guy with size, and that was the purpose. But I didn't see a whole lot in the Birchie guy that really, I don't know. I mean, you tell me.
Wow.
I mean, Felska's the one that's be able to give us the dish on. I mean, he said he's the top scorer down there, but he didn't do anything for me that maybe be like, wow. I mean, I don't know.
I thought he did what we expected.
So, this is an undersized kid. This is a kid that came over this year probably just because there was opportunities with how few skilled players you have. But he's a kid that he played for S.E. Bern in the Swiss League. He played for Guy Boucher. And he was, or Guy Boucher. I say Guy because I'm American. I know that was the look.
Is that
so
so?
bad with names.
For those Americans out there, his name is pronounced Guy Busher. I mean,
Guy
if you want,
Busher.
Guy Busher.
Yeah.
But if you
And
want
Michael
to,
Granlund.
if you want to mix in the French bit, then it's Guy Boucher, and then you have to say it like that.
And then,
Boucher. And then almost like you're.
I have a Minnesota accent, anyways.
Oui, oui.
Or I have a accent that I picked up in New Orleans, whatever. So, Birchie is a kid that in the Wild development camps overseas, he's really skilled. He's really good with the puck. He's more of a distributor, but he's also he's a kid that can skate. He can create. He's undersized. I mean, he's really no different from Karanen, except for he's a center and
Michael Kiernan.
Yeah, I agree as well. You know.
Wow.
I mean, is it Kiernan? Is it?
I think it's Kiernan.
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 Is he going to be
Kiernan?
back?
Here's
He's
what
back by this weekend, right, Kiernan?
I think so.
I think we should do is next week we should get Felska to call in and have a little
sounds
baby
great.
Wild
Let's do
update
that.
kind of bit. And
I'm hoping to get a tweet
honestly,
any
I
second
don't
where
think
he
any of
says
us
yes
are
to that.
any of us are anywhere near as knowledgeable about what's going on down
Felska,
there.
tweet me yes.
And that's an important thing too.
That's a yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's an important thing too. The Iowa Wild should be on TV in Minnesota, and I don't understand why they are not, because people will watch it. I would watch it. I'd watch every
They're
game.
really,
Who's gonna
really
put it on
bad.
there? Like FSN?
Well, somebody should, or the Wild should put it on their website and work it
Yeah,
out.
that's not a bad
They
idea.
do. They stream it though, don't they? On the Iowa Wild's website.
I don't think that
I think
they
they
do.
stream it.
You know, you got to pay AHL. You got to pay for an AHL license.
Well.
and
That's commitment. That's commitment
I
right
ain't
there.
doing that.
And I'll just be honest with you. I would watch all of the Iowa Wild games. I don't want to watch any other AHL hockey ever, unless it involves somebody
my
coming
Marlies?
to it. Unless it involves somebody coming to the Wild, and then I'll watch like highlight reels of that guy. Yes, we need to work out who's going to say the thing about books and bars. And
No, we're skipping that.
Oh.
We're going to move on to something sports related. So no books and bars or anything of that nature. Sarah's going to talk about Twins related, because there was some Twins news today. So there is a show on the network, Alive and Social Network, aliveandsocial.com, where you can find this Twins related show.
So, well, the sports ticket, it's not just Twins related. He just hands me pieces of
breakdown.
paper. It says, I just want everybody to know that it says, read the sports ticket. Okay.
And
there's
and
a
the
paper
break.
over there that says I have to pee as well.
I really had to pee. If I went silent for a minute,
All right, I'm
going
going to
to
go.
guys
I'm going to
are
go
killing
first.
me.
So,
You go
anyways,
first.
fine. The sports ticket, which is with Kevin Gorg and Kendall Mark.
No, he's reading the sports ticket.
We know both of them personally.
We do. Close personal friends of ours. They are down the street at Patrick McGovern's. They also do 2 shows a week, Monday and Thursday. And actually, next week I will be filling in for Kevin Gore, because he will be at an away game. I believe it is out in Boston. So I will be filling in next week for him. But give it a listen. The sports ticket. They talk everything from basketball, hockey, fantasy football. A couple weeks ago they talked horse racing and so on. So give it a
2
listen.
weeks ago, Kendall Mark was on the show. She was great. She held Lord Schweitz accountable.
Indeed.
The two of them together, he gets yelled at enough for him to be away from Sarah, who holds him accountable on this show.
Yeah.
And he takes enough shit from me that when he gets there, it's probably like a welcoming. You know what I mean? It's like a more friendly version of taking shit. You know.
For sure.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Okay, so but also is the Breakdown, which is a Minnesota Twins-based show.
I like the way you're put together.
I will take it away.
That's well played. What a jerk. Talk about the Breakdown, right?
Cole DeVries, who's an ex-Twins pitcher, and Brandon Warren, who writes for the Minnesota Twins. They do a show, all Minnesota Twins, all news. Today, do they do a show today? When does their show air?
Tomorrow, so check it out because the Twins made a big trade today.
They did make a big trade, trading Aaron Hicks to the Yankees for catcher John Ryan Murphy.
No, this is not a Twins Wednesday. This is a Wild Wednesday. But I don't understand that trade because don't we have an awesome catcher in Kurt Suzuki?
You didn't watch any Twins games this year because Kurt Suzuki was not awesome this year.
They needed a catcher bad.
They needed a catcher.
By the
I
way,
do really
guys,
like Aaron Hicks,
I went to Books and Bars yesterday.
this is
It
why
was a great time.
Where was Books and Bars
What,
yesterday?
can you tell us anything about Books and Bars?
It was at Indeed Brewery, second Thursday of the month. It's in Minneapolis. First Thursday, it's in St. Paul.
So it's the first and second Thursdays of the month. First Thursday it's in St. Paul. Second Thursday it's in Minneapolis.
Books and
And
Bars.
the audio from Books and Bars will be available via the Live and Social podcast, Story North.
Story North.
There you go.
So
also check
the whole
out Story
time-
North.
the whole
Different from Books and Bars.
The whole time Sarah had it right where you find it. You don't tell a Story North story in a bar. You do Books
right,
and Bars.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, anyways, check out their show. It's awesome having Cole DeVries on the network, actually. So,
Cole DeVries is a Minnesota guy, right?
Yeah.
He's a Minnesota
Gopher.
guy, Minnesota Gopher.
yep.
And then Twins farmhand. Brandon Warren was 105 the ticket. He was also a Twins Tuesday contributor. Very knowledgeable guy, very approachable guy. If you follow Brandon Warren on Twitter, he is an up-and-coming great sports mind with regard to the Twins. He's very entertaining with regard to how he tweets out and talks about sports. One of the most influential people with regard to like making it as a blogger and then also making it on the radio.
Right.
Really excited for them to have a show on the network.
My douchey husband, who's a Yankees fan, is
Wow.
texting me right now.
Aggressive.
Hicks. So,
And good for them. I'm not. I was excited about Aaron Hicks until he got here, and then I was like, oh, so
it
this
doesn't
is
matter. We've traded him away now. In a few years, he's going to be awesome, and everybody's going to be pissed that we traded him.
He can't
It's
hit-
the Twins way.
He was
can't-
pretty good last year. We need a catcher bad, though.
He can't hit right-handed pitching though, and then
We had a catcher that we paid a bunch of money to, but oh well.
he can't hit right-handed pitching. You know, he was a first-round bust sort, except for last year he was good. Good for them. Hopefully they end up on the wrong side of the trade. I hope Aaron Hicks is terrible.
I hope the Yankees
Hate,
are terrible.
hate. Yeah.
You hear that, Bri? Fuck the Yankees.
Not only that, the other
beep that out.
the other Twins news that's relevant. There's a Korean first baseman
Yeah.
who has like
we won the bid.
damn near 200 home runs in the last couple of years.
We tried that last time. His name was Nishioka. Look how that turned out.
Oh,
Do you see this bid that was like 12 mil just for the bid?
yes, and
Yeah,
that guy.
we did that last time and we won it, and then that's what happened. Yeah.
This guy, that's Minnesota sports negative right there. Just like they're two different guys. Nishioka's
Who
a
are
middle
you?
infielder that couldn't
He
hit.
was god awful, and then he broke his leg because of a poor slide.
This
by
guy,
by the Yankees guy, by the way.
this guy is a huge power hitter, DH, first base type. But then, where does our guy that can't play catcher play? I just don't. Maybe he gets traded. Maybe this
I
is
think he might
setting
get
up
traded.
the Joe Mauer trade.
Nobody
He can't get traded. He's got a no trade clause.
and nobody would ever take that money, ever.
All right. Well, let's quit talking about Twins baseball because honestly, it's off season. It's depressing.
most of you
and
all
I'm
probably
over it.
threw up
Let's
in your
get-
mouth by this
Let's get back to the exciting stuff that we have. All right. So last night, awesome, big win, huge win at home, huge second period. Just such a fun game to watch. Moving forward, so we've got four tough games on the road coming up here. What do you guys think? Who's starting on that top line, Coyle or Vanek?
Top line, I think they're going to keep it the way it is.
You think?
For it, I mean, they have to for another game. I mean, you don't revert back once you see what can happen.
Right.
You have to leave that alone for at least another game.
I hope so.
We're playing Carolina. They're 6-9. I mean, they haven't been good in many years, and I think they're having issues. They got the Stahl brothers there. I don't know. I don't know what really to think about.
They got to blow that team up. They got Cam Ward's contract. I think they're done with Cam Ward's contract. I expect one or a couple of the Stahl brothers to be gone from there. They got Jeff Skinner, who can score some goals, but he's been injury plagued. They lost their GM to retirement, but then he ended up in Pittsburgh, which is kind of
interesting.
That maybe they didn't make the right choice there. They're just they're an organization in flux. But I definitely think you can't go there and lay a turd.
No, you can't, because
that's a winnable game.
The three games we have before we meet again next Wednesday is Carolina. I mean, all on the road. Carolina, Dallas, Pittsburgh. I mean, all those games. I mean, well, then Boston and Thursday after that. But I mean, out of those 3 games, I mean, that's your must win. Because
we play horrible in Dallas.
We do
always.
Yep, and then Pittsburgh could be tough. Maybe we'll see the Hedgehog make some moves.
I think
we'll see.
Fat Kessel.
I think Boston's dog shit too. They can fuck themselves.
Well,
this was a really inappropriate show. I would like to apologize to my daughter who might be listening. I hope she's sleeping.
Dude, your daughter won't.
I hope she was walking around saying,
she's won, but
she's gonna stand. She's gonna stand up and say something to you like, "Mom, why'd you say that? Oh, you had learned how to talk now? Oh, great."
Why are the Bruins Uptown Funk?
I find it so funny. I find it so funny when parents are like, "Oh, my kid doesn't." I'm like, your kid has all that comes out of your mouth is just noises. Like, they don't know what you're saying.
I can't wait till you have a kid because the things that's going to walk around saying.
All right. But okay, so seriously, out of those 3, Dallas we play horrible in. We need to win Carolina. As so thoughts after those 3? I mean, is it 1-1-1? Are we going to be able to steal one? Are we going to be able to? I don't know.
Well, I feel like we have
steal
to
one. I mean, steal.
I think we win all. I think we win all 3. I go all 3.
Run the table, not leaving no points behind.
And you know why? Because there's no love lost between Dallas and Minnesota. Jamie Benn wants to conduct himself like a chumbalone and wants to take extra shots on Zucker. Where did it land them? Out of the playoffs last year. I'm not. They added Patrick Sharp. They have a good group. I still think their defense is suspect. I'm not a huge fan of their goaltending, although Niemi's been better than what they were getting out of their other number 1 guy. And this team needs to respond. If this team is a contender, if this team is top of the Central Division and going to move forward, especially with the young players carrying the weight of this, and Vanek stepping up as a leader, that they need to go on the road and they need to prove that they can win without Pari-Say. They need to prove that you don't get to just take dirty, cheap shots on us and injure our players. That they're not a one-trick pony.
Just for the love of God, no more injuries, okay? That's my one request.
Yeah, man.
I think we take Carolina. I think we take Pitt. I think we drop Dallas.
In regulation?
I'd like to see we get a point out of it, but I don't think we win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably say we walk out of there with we'll see how things go down in Dallas, but I mean, I'd like to see at least 4 points, whether that come in overtime losses or whatnot. But 5 would be getting out there with 5. I think you're doing something right.
Are they going to play Dubnyk all 3?
I mean, that's the problem. Is you look at how the schedule breaks down, and you got Thursday, then you got Saturday, then you got Tuesday. So I mean, I think they do. And since something happens, I think you have to. I mean, if the guy's clicking, you gotta roll with them and build that confidence. Now, if there's a game you're going to put Kemper in, it's Carolina. But, I mean, you won't do that. You don't put somebody who's just won a couple games, one of which was just a spectacular performance. You don't put your backup in, and you're not going to play a subpar goaltender by all accounts.
So then he's playing Carolina, Dallas, Pitt, and Boston.
And so maybe
Boston's Thursday now.
And maybe Kemper in Boston. I'm not a huge. I just don't like you're going to play the backup goalie, but he's going to play the shitty team. I think that's motivation for the shitty team.
Okay, if you want to go reverse psychology on the bit, then you go play him in Dallas. Dallas is 12-4.
Yeah, maybe
they're having a good season, and you say here you go.
There is no way you put Kemper in Dallas.
Why? They're playing 12-4 hockey.
Because we play like horse shit in Dallas.
So what?
And we need every single thing that we can.
So I'm saying you have to build this kid up. You have to play him. I agree with you. Like,
I'd challenge him. I'd say,
optimal lineup. Maybe
we're playing a tough
squeak
team.
One out. But
with no Pari-Say, there is no goddamn way that Kemper starts in Dallas.
Now it gets interesting, folks. It really does. Because I say if they do, you got to drink like 3 Chardonnays and to hell with your cleansing next week. Yeah. Once you put your Chardonnay where your mouth is.
That sounds like a deal.
I found a shirt, by the way, on the interweb. Somebody posted on Facebook, and I'm not a Facebook person per se, but it said it was like out of the Whip and Nene song. It's like
I'm sorry, out of the what?
The Whip
the who?
The Whip and the Nene song. People know. People know. You say you don't know, you're lying.
That's like when your grandpa
You're lying.
mentions it at Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. So it says something to the effect of like, now watch me sip on my Chardonnay.
Oh my God, I need that.
I mess with it. I like it.
I need that.
I like where that story went.
Did you like my delivery right there? That was
well.
nice.
I love
was,
that. That was really
silky
good.
smooth.
It was in pitch.
Word.
That was good. So, giveaway?
Yeah. So we come to the end of the show. We said we were going to do a giveaway, and we are. So you come into Bennett's and say the magic word. You want to say the magic word, or you want to tweet it to us, and we tell you win, and then you come into Bennett's?
So I think that we need for you to not only tweet the magic word, but then give us a description of what you think it looks like. And so
That's aggressive.
I'm gonna have to stop. How do they know what the magic word is?
The magic
I'm
word
about to
is-
say it.
Go ahead.
How about we put the magic word on our Snapchat, and they have to go onto our
No,
Snapchat
it's
and
too much.
find
There's
it?
too
nobody,
many hurdles. Too many hurdles.
it'll be a 13-year-old girl
Yeah,
because
stop
that's
it.
the only person on Snapchat.
And they should be not looking at Aaron's mustache. That is the secret word.
but you have to describe what you believe Aaron's mustache
You don't.
looks
You
like.
it's just Aaron's mustache, guys.
Now, if you want to go on to Snapchat, Sarah will take a picture of Aaron, and
It's
then you
already
can.
on there.
Then you can go on there and see Aaron's mustache. But Aaron's mustache, send us a message with it. We will send out the winners. Then come on into Bennett's and claim your prize. And while you're in here, have yourself a Coors Light, have yourself a Summit, have yourself some steaks, some wings, whatever.
Make sure that you come into the bar. You mention to an employee or the bartender that you were listening to the Wild Wednesday show live from Bennett's, and you heard the key code word was Aaron's mustache,
And you should actually send
and
it.
that's how you won.
You should
I
tweet,
don't know if they
tweet
should
some
come in
thanks
here
to
and,
Aaron
like,
about his mustache.
say to Megan, I heard the secret word is Aaron's mustache.
Oh, I love
just
it.
don't-
No, I think it's even better.
I think
People
it
here,
has to
people
be
here
that
will
way.
love it.
If you find Joe Bennett anywhere in public, just tell him Aaron's mustache and then walk away. Don't say anything
I
else
want-
to Joe Bennett but Aaron's mustache.
Okay, I'm also going to tweet a picture
It's
of
like
Aaron's
it's like
mustache 'cause
FBI,
it only
FBI and
seems-
CIA stuff. Like you just walk by and you just kind of like tap them and say, "Aaron's mustache," and then just keep walking. And you're like, huh? What happened? What? And Joe, when you're listening, then you'll know what the bit is.
You know, the other thing I want to mention, very thankful, back-to-back weeks with great guests. Kendall Mark came on. She was a great guest. She hosts a Sports Ticket with Kevin Gorg. Scott will be filling in for Gorg
Next Thursday.
next Thursday. And then Chad Graff was really good to us. We, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, go back and listen. What we pride ourselves on is being a premier barroom hockey talk conversation. We consider ourselves family here at the Wild Wednesdays, like not like the family that you love, but the family that you love to talk
that
shit
you
to.
like have to hang out
And-
with.
Yes,
Hey, we're the dysfunctional holiday family.
and so we really appreciate
We drink,
the support
we swear.
for the show. We want to make sure that we have some up and coming types on the show. We definitely want to have the Felskas on, who always support us. We had Allie from the Hockey Writers last year earlier this year, last season on the draft show. We'll have Nate Bauer on.
Let's just leave it at that. Like, if you want to come on the show, tell us.
Yes.
I mean, come out there and tell us you want to come on the show, and we will make room for you. I guess every week we don't have to go through the roster of all. I mean, you want to come on? You know where to find us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Apparently, Sarah's on Snapchat. I don't know what that is.
We are on Snapchat.
We.
Aaron's on
He's-
farmersonly.com. And
We don't want to talk about what you're on, okay?
What am I on?
That's the best.
I don't do anything. I'm on old married guys dot should never get on the internet.
With that mustache, you're on that. What do they
Oh,
call that?
yeah,
the
yeah.
dark
No
net?
doubt, no doubt.
That's where you are.
I'm on the list of people that they call the police on just to have them investigate.
For real.
That's right.
This mustache is my best effort, Sarah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This is my
You're doing
best-
a really good job.
You know what? I took an art class, and every time that we did art, all the other students would look at mine and then give me that look that you give me when you look at my mustache. You're like, oh, so that's your mustache? They would do that when they looked at my art.
So that's
Rule
what you
number
got,
one.
huh?
What a jerk.
No touching of the hair or face.
Very nice.
Look at how proud you are.
I am. I love it. I love
It's
soundboard.
unbelievable.
That was Aaron actually did that. That was sneaky. He doesn't want anybody touching his face or his facial hair.
If you see Aaron in public, touch his mustache.
That's gross. That's accosting.
All right, I gotta.
All right, we're done. We're gonna take it off here, and hopefully we're coming back to you next week with some positivity, some wins, hopefully no injuries, and hopefully the return of Zach Pari-Say. So thank you all for listening, and remember the code word: Aaron's mustache.
Let's go wild.
Wicked wild, wild west, Jim West, Desperado.